Yes. Okay. All right. I'll actually record it on my end, and we'll get started here in 4 minutes.
Good afternoon, Cher. How are you? Good afternoon, Donna. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Trying to get an email out real quick.
Okay, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight, Amy is going to be doing a presentation on flight because this is something that is opening up now and people are starting to travel. If you do not know Amy, she is our platinum leader. She has been with Evolution Travel for 4 years now, previously with another company. And she is an amazing leader. Everyone, please give it up for Miss Amy Peterson.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing, Miss Marcy?
Doing just fine.
Good. Thank you so much for hosting tonight. I absolutely appreciate it. For those of you who don't know who Miss Marcy is, she is a IATAN card holder multiple times over. She is a silver working on gold consultant, and she is just absolutely amazing. She's a member of the Elite Circle. of leaders for the Boss Tribe. She was actually with me in that previous company that she mentioned. And I couldn't ask for just someone, you know, to be so amazing. So thank you so much, Marcy. I absolutely appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So I apologize if I look a little tired. Allergies have totally gotten me. Those are always fun, right? Marcy, you understand that. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a really quick flight overview. And the reason why we're doing this is because flights are definitely opening up. Okay. Travel is opening up throughout the United States. I do want to go over something that was just announced yesterday by the CDC. Anybody who is vaccinated does not have to wear a mask in enclosed spaces or outside. However, per the flight administration, masks are still required within airports and on planes. Okay, so whether you are vaccinated or not vaccinated, you know, just remember you still have to wear your mask inside of airports and on planes. Also, please let your clients know too, okay? Because as agents, we are the educators for our clients, all right? We're the ones who sit there and tell them, you know, the news, things that have changed in the world. And as we know, things are changing on the daily, right? So definitely stay in the mix. You know, I know with me, I hate the news. I would much rather watch, you know, nice, positive, happy things, or be booking travel. But, you know, one of the biggest things that we do have to remember, folks, is that in the travel industry, we are part of the news. And with everything going on with COVID-19, we have to make sure that we know what is going on, and how it can affect our clients, because it doesn't just affect us, okay? It affects our clients as well. Stay on top of different countries, okay? Greece has opened up their borders to travel for vaccinated clients. It was actually just announced earlier through Travel Weekly that Mexico is in the orange tier. So what that means is when they're at that orange tier, that orange level, they're seeing a surge in COVID-19 cases. So they have decreased capacity to some hotels. They've decreased capacity on beaches. These are all different things that, you know, you need to know. And if the surge keeps happening, they will move into a red tier, and that actually means that Mexico will go into a lockdown, like Cancun. You know, those different areas, the different areas that are experiencing these surges, could very well go into lockdowns. And that's why you have to keep watching things every single day. And another thing is the cruise lines. Okay, Carnival Cruises is looking to restart their cruises in July out of Galveston, Texas, and out of Florida. Now, on the flip side, we have Norwegian Cruise Lines, which really do want to try and kind of make a compromise between their company and their all vaccination. You know, they only accept passengers with vaccines, and then with Governor DeSantis on his policy saying that they cannot do that. So there's a lot going on right now between whether or not Norwegian Cruise Lines will cruise out of Florida. So that's a big thing. I don't know, Donna, Marcy, if you guys heard about the Alaskan cruises. They are allowing Alaskan cruises. However, they will not be stopping in Canada. Reason being is Canada has not opened its borders to United States residents at this time. So our ships can't dock there. So what they're going to do is that it's going to be, I believe, from San Francisco, I think Northern California, up into Alaska cruises. So, and that's Princess Cruise Lines. Princess Cruise Lines will be doing those. Disney has canceled 2 of its cruises through July 12th. Well, one through July, the beginning of July, and the other one through July 12th. And that will be the Disney Dream and Disney Fantasy, and all Disney Wonder sailings through July 12th. So they do have, they are working on having some of their ships up. It's just, again, guys, this is every single day. Okay. Make sure you are signed up, through the suppliers, and you get the emails that give you these alerts. All right. Because if you don't, then yes, Norwegian is headed to Alaska as well. So, okay. Thank you, Donna. So yeah, it's Princess and Norwegian Cruise Lines. But make sure you sign up, for like the Disney newsletters, the Travel Weekly newsletters. All of those different things can help you be ahead of the game, because you're going to be the first ones to know about it. All right. As travel agents, they're going to let the travel industry know before they let the general public know. And again, with flights, guys, and then and how the news has or things going on in the world has impacted it. For those of you who haven't heard, for some odd reason you haven't heard about the pipeline disruption that happened in Texas, okay, actually right down the street from me, is where this pipeline actually comes from. And the company was hacked. Okay, it's the largest pipeline distributor. Okay, the largest fuel distributing pipeline on the East Coast. So all the way up the East Coast, fuel has been rationed. It's been run out because people, panic buy. And so one thing that we're noticing with flights right now is the prices are even higher than they were, and they were already high to begin with. Okay. That's another thing we have to let our clients know about. Reason being, okay, is just because they started that pipeline back up today doesn't mean that it's going to be like an instant flow of fuel and everybody's going to have fuel again. Okay. Prices are still going to be up for fuel, and it's going to affect the flights, not just to the East Coast, but coming out of the East Coast. Okay, so going to, whether it could be from Texas to Florida or vice versa, it's going to affect the flight prices because their fuel prices go up, so they've got to raise it. Let's see, what was another thing? Another thing is for those of you who understand the market, okay, this is going to be something for you. And it's called buyer and seller's market. Okay. Right now with the flights, before everything started happening with the fuel issue, okay, what ended up happening was supply and demand. We have only so many seats on so many planes, right? But people want to travel. They want to travel. They want to travel. So it is now a seller's market. Okay. It is the owners and the people that run the airlines. Okay. They're driving those prices up. Okay. That's why we don't have all these, wonderful cheap flights like we saw before the pandemic. Marcy, I was talking to Daphne a couple days ago, and she was looking up flights from New Orleans to Vegas, and you guys have flown before, and it used to be like a round trip for under $200, and now you're looking at a round trip for like $400. It's doubled, if not almost tripled in price. And the reason being is that supply and demand. It's that buyer versus seller market, and right now it is not a buyer's market. It is the seller's market. Okay, the companies have control over these. So again, as the educators of our clients, we have to let them know, hey, these flights may not be as cheap as they were before the pandemic, and because we were always used to those, budget friendly flights and things like that. So anyway, that's my spiel on the news and flight prices, but there's a reason why I wanted to do this training tonight. And it's because I want to show you how you can make money on budget flights, even though they don't look like they're priced budgety. It's going to be a two-part process, okay? Because with domestic budget fares, we do not make a commission at all right? The only time you will see us make a commission is if they are included in a travel package, okay, with hotel, car rental, things like that. And even then, it can be extremely, extremely small. So if you're doing just a quote for flights, okay, there's two things I recommend. Number one, send them to your evotravelagency.com website, all right, where they can look up the flight on their own. Number two, you can do this two-part process. You're not going to make a lot of money, guys, okay, because you're going to have to tell them that you charge a booking fee on flights. Now, if they want to book a package that includes a vacation rental, a car rental, a hotel, things like that, yeah, no, you don't have to charge a booking fee. But if it's just flights, you're going to charge a booking fee. All right. And it's up to you as the agent as to what you want to charge. I charge a flat rate of $25. I don't care if the flight is $100. That person is paying me $25 for my time to book their flight. Okay, and to look for their flight. 25 bucks. Okay, now if you have a large group or something like that, absolutely, you can go up in price. Should you choose, you can change it to a percentage, 10%, 15%, whatever you want to do. Okay, that is completely up to you as the agent. But I will tell you right now, let them know up front. And if they say, oh, well, I could just do this on my own. Okay, fine. That's great. Okay, I love my clients, but we are not in this to work for free. Okay, we are in this to make money. And if you were to walk into a travel agency that's brick and mortar, they would not sit there and look up a flight for you and book a flight for you and you not pay them a price. Okay, I have a flat fee of $25 for booking flights, bottom line. Okay, when I go to book flights, number one rule of thumb, never, ever, ever use your own card for somebody else's flight, period. Never. Okay. We've had agents in the past have their clients cash app them the money. No, no, no. That is called illegal. We are not even playing that game. Okay. None of y'all are going to rock orange. Okay. Like at all. So with flights, make sure you have their information. You qualify them. All right. And in this time with COVID, you want to qualify them this way. Number one, do you understand that per FAA guidelines right now, you must have a negative COVID test 3 days before you fly out of country? Do you understand you must wear a mask in the airport and on the plane? Do you have your passport? Those are the first three things you need to let them know. You need to ask them that. Do they understand these things? Do they have a passport? Okay. A question came up in the chat earlier, and it is, it was asked if somebody from Texas needed their passport to go to Mexico. Yes. Okay. Yes. You leave the U.S., you have to have a passport, because here's the thing. You might just be able to get into another place with just your birth certificate and your driver's license. You may not be able to come back. Right? You may not be able to come back. And guess what you want to do? Come back. Okay, you want to be able to go home. So have a passport. All right. even before the pandemic, okay, there were stories of people who went out on cruises and didn't have their passports and they got sick. They had to go to a hospital in a foreign country. And guess what? They weren't able to make their ship departure. Okay, when their ship disembarked port, they weren't able to get back because they were in the hospital, and they weren't able to get home. They weren't able to get back to the States. So, rule of thumb: you leave our border, you have a passport. Bottom line. Okay. Annie just said a couple places are requiring 5 days. Definitely want to check into that because I know that it has to be 3 days. It definitely has to be 3 days before you can come back to the United States. With the 5 days, they have to have a negative test 5 days before they fly. Because I know the CDC and the FAA and all of them put out 3 days. So, which countries are asking for 5 days, Annie? Go ahead and answer that back in the chat. Again, guys, you can always Google also, okay? Google is my friend. I love Google, all right? You can always Google COVID requirements for international travelers to Jamaica. Most likely it'll pull up the Jamaican tourist website, and it'll have all the information that your client will need before they go to Jamaica. Okay. And then also, make sure you know the requirements to come back to the United States, because you want your clients to be able to come home. Okay. If for some reason they do test positive while they are out of country before they come back, they will have to quarantine in that country. Some places it is going to be them that will have to pay to stay in those countries. Some of the countries do have some type of an insurance that they give travelers. Let's see. Yes. Okay. So the health insurance, definitely. That's actually what I was talking about right now, Annie. Is the health insurance, even with Mexico now, if you go to Cancun, they're requiring that you now buy, because they're in that orange level, they're requiring that you buy that health insurance, and that health insurance basically helps pay back for any extended stays, quarantines and stuff like that. Okay, so Turks and Caicos is 5 days before arriving. All right, so again, make sure that you go through and you look at the different tourism sites. You can just Google it, guys. That's it. All right. Okay, so, but this is what I do. I have, first of all, for my booking fee, I have Square. You can go to squareup.com and open a free account. You can just open up a free account. It's squareup.com right here. It's for small, medium, and large business. I personally like them and their security a lot better than PayPal, but it is completely up to you. I personally I do not have the reader, okay, that they have on their site. I don't have any of that. What I do have is I have the app, okay? I just have the little app right here. It has this little point of sale on it. When I get my client's payment information, I do one of two things. I can either send them an invoice for the $25, or I can tell them that I can go ahead and manually put it in to the reader, or AKA my phone, and charge them the $25 there. Let's see. GeoBlue has a great health plan for travel, and probably Travel Guard AIG as well. Yes. A lot, of course, a lot of the different travel insurances, and the health plans also. I think a couple countries, Donna, are working with GeoBlue. But I do know that some countries actually require that you purchase a plan at the airport when you get there, even if you have health insurance, because it's international. And even, you know, I know the travel, insurance companies will probably have those too. But for each country, they have like different, each country has their own requirements. So for a travel insurance to, you know, like really be able to encompass all of that, it would be extremely hard. So a lot of countries have adopted their own policy. And I think like the one for Mexico is like an extra $20 a person for your entire stay there. I'm not sure how much the one in Turks was for Annie, but you know, it's just it's different things. So you've really got to look at what each country requires. And you know, a lot of the booking sites now, they're actually talking about it. $69. Okay, so Annie had to pay an extra 69 in Turks. So, you know, again, guys, definitely look at the different travel boards. And if you have any questions, you know, you're not exactly sure and it's kind of freaking you out, all you got to do is reach out. Okay, just reach out to one of us. We're more than happy to, you know, help you look it up, and you know, get you and your clients what you guys need. Okay, it's not as hard as it seems. I know it's kind of like, oh my gosh, what's going on? It's just, you know, it's just something that is evolving and changing in the travel industry. And you know, that's what we're here for, is to help you maneuver through it, get everything done right, make sure your clients are taken care of, get them booked, and get you paid. So again, the way I charge my booking fee is through Square. Okay. And like I said, I personally like the fee structure a lot better than PayPal. I like their security a lot better than PayPal. If any of you have ever asked me about PayPal, you know my beef with PayPal. So there's nothing like getting your account hacked. Okay. But you know, I'm definitely a huge proponent of Square. So if you want, you can open up a account with Square at squareup.com. It is free. They just charge you, you know, the normal processing rates per transaction, which for Square are some of the lowest in the industry. So now, Google Flights, here we go. Okay, so what I do is I charge my fee, okay? And of course, I let my clients know about this like right up front. You know, I charge $25 fee for flights. You know, if it's if it's a bigger group, usually I do $25 for every 4 people. Okay, so it's 25 for the first 4. If it's going to be 8 people, it's going to be 50. It's going to be 12 people, it's going to be, you know, 75. So it just kind of graduates up. You can do percentages, 5, 10, 15, whatever you want to do. That's completely up to you. You can do a flat rate of 20, 25, 10, whatever you decide. It is your business. So what I usually do is I go onto Google Flights. Okay. And the reason why I go onto Google Flights is because it has everything. Everything. Okay. So let's say I have somebody who wants to go from IAH, which is George Bush Intercontinental in Houston, to, let's just chalk up Miami. All right. And they want to go to Miami International. All right. I ask them the dates. Now, if they say this is a last minute trip, I definitely go on and I check, what do my clients need before they get on that plane? Okay. Now, another thing that Google does that I really, really like is they show you rates. Okay. Now, let's say my client wants to go, we're just going to do June 17th. Okay. Now, June 17th, typical rate is around $288. Let's say they want to stay there for a week. So they want to come back on the 24th. Super easy and simple, right? So we go ahead, we lock in those dates. It's going to bring this up. Now, remember, before you go into the dates, You've got to put it in there for like round trip, how many people, do they want economy, do they want business, whatever they want, all right? Now you can also change it to how many stops, you know, is there a certain airline they want, bags, prices, times, are they more of a morning or afternoon traveler? You know, do they prefer different connecting airports, durations? I mean, there's really just like a lot on here, okay? Now, here it is, COVID trends in Miami, okay? 89% of flights are operating in Miami and 64% of hotels have availability during, you know, at this time. There's different travel advisories. You can look at the different numbers for COVID-19 in Miami, local cases, okay? So as you can see right here, these flights actually, excuse me for the sirens that are going to be popping up in the back, guys. I'm across the street from a fire station. So hold that thought for a second, hold it. We might be good. There's another truck going. Okay, good. Now we're good. All right. So as you can see here, these flights actually are not that bad, right? They're really not that bad. Now remember, this is a round trip for one, okay? So let's say this person really doesn't mind an evening flight. They definitely don't want a budget cutter flight. Like, I won't name their names, but they're not United, they're not American, they're not Delta, you know, that sort of stuff. But let's say, you know, they don't mind coming in the evening or whatever. And they're going to be there for a while. They just want to make sure they can get there, you know, in time for maybe like an evening drink or something. So we've got this one right here, which is nonstop, which is always great, right? 2 hours and 36 minutes of airtime. So they're going to be leaving at 5:15 local time and arriving at 8:51 local time. Now, anybody who knows the time difference, Houston is in Central, Miami is in Eastern. So they're going to be Miami's going to be an hour ahead. So, you know, it tells you that there's average leg room of 30 inches. There is Wi-Fi. There is in-seat power outlets, which usually don't work. You can stream media to your device. Now, if you notice here, this price for this flight doesn't include overhead bin access. All right, if you need to carry on bag, use the bags filter to update the prices, okay? So let's say you want to add that in there, all right? So let's say you want to do bags, all right? Carry on, we're just gonna do one, because you're only supposed to have one, right? Unless you're like me and you like throw one under your jacket and all that other good stuff. But anyway, I don't pack light, guys. Okay, so now they've redone it, right? So now you've got $246 round trip nonstop from IH to Miami. And let's see, this one's on American Airlines. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna expand it again, all right? And let's see. This one does have the additional bag fee. So $246 round trip, that's really not bad. That's cheaper than going from New Orleans to Vegas. I really wish it didn't. But anyway, returning flights. Now, let's say on the way home, they don't want to leave too early in the morning because they want a chance to kind of like sleep in, but they don't want to arrive too late. So I would definitely go for that 1:40 p.m. To 3:24 p.m. Okay, so bam, there we go. You have it. Okay, you have the flight. Now, do they want main cabin, which is $246, or do they want main plus, which is, you know, let's see what else. Extra leg room. I love that extra leg room. Okay, so main, they do have one free carry-on. First check bag is $60. Ooh, with main plus. Now, but that's an extra like $100. They do get their first check bag for free. They do get, you know, more leg room. Otherwise, it's really not any different. And then of course there's first class at $634, which they get everything, including priority boarding, 2 free check bags, and 1 free carry-on. Wow, you know, that might actually be worth the price right there. But anyway, let's say they don't want to pay $634 per person, right? So you've got the main cabin, they want the lowest price. You're looking at $246. Okay. Now, once you do that, okay, and they say, yes, that's what I want. Now, what are you going to do? You are going to make sure to email them because you always want a paper trail. Okay. Or if you cannot email them, text them. Text them. Okay. And I'm telling you this because I've had clients try to come back and say, I didn't pay for that. Yes, you did. I've got the emails, I got the paper trail, I got the text messages, everything. And I had to submit them to the suppliers. Okay. So always make sure you have some form of paper trail, whether it be text messages or email. So you just send them their quote, put in that $25 or whatever you're charging for the booking fee, okay? Add it into their total and tell them they must reply to the email confirming that they agree to be charged that amount. You don't have to do a credit card authorization form if you have that email that when they reply and they say, yes, I agree to these charges. Boom. Yes. Perfect. Great. Some people have them, send a photocopy of the front and back of their credit card. Some people have them call. I'm one of those who, depending on what's going on with the client, I will, technically do both, but usually I call and I just call them over the phone. I don't keep a copy of their credit card on file. And, I just say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and call you and we're going to go ahead and finish this booking. Now, when you get to that point, you're just going to hit select. Okay. And let them know that they're lollygagging, they're waiting to book, could be hundreds of dollars in difference. Okay. Let them know that this is not locked in until they 1000% book their trip. So you're going to go in, it's going to take you to that airline. Okay, it's going to take that. Now, as you can see right here, what does it say, guys? Face coverings and COVID-19 testing requirements. A face covering is required by federal law at the airport and onboard American airline flights. In addition, passengers flying from the U.S. to another country, including U.S. citizens, must show proof of a negative COVID-19 test taken within 3 days of departure or documentation of recovery. These rules do not apply to children under the age of 2. Passengers who may be exempt from wearing a face covering due to a disability must contact us before travel. There you go. Okay. Now it's going to show what happens if they apply for a credit card. The total trip, okay, is going to be over here, and it's $245.80. That's the price for tax, bags, all those other wonderful things. The entire trip total is $245.80. That's round trip. You are going to put their name in here. Now, this is something my daughter did, okay, to her boyfriend. And it was great. It was wonderful. It sucked, okay? She spelled his last name wrong. When you input your client's name, you ask them point blank, what does your name look like on your driver's license or on your passport? It has to match exactly. If they have a middle initial, it must be put in there. If not, they could potentially miss out on their flight because it has to be reissued at the ticketing desk. And that could cost your client. And that could really make your client mad. We're not out for that. So you ask them point blank, what is your name on your driver's license or passport? Which one are you using? Using your passport, give me what it says on your passport. Driver's license, please let me know. Does it have a middle initial? Does it have the second? Does it have the third? I need to know, okay? Then you're going to put in their date of birth, their gender, the country or region of residence, okay? Trip contact, your email. I'm going to say that one more time. Your email. Yours. YOURS, your email, their phone number. Why? because you want to make sure if there's any delays or if there's any issues with that flight, you know about it, because not everybody reads their email. Not every client reads their email. So you want to be able to let them know, hey, guess what? There's storms in Miami and there's going to be a delay. My clients love it when they get a text message from me and it says, hey, just want to let you know your flight's delayed by 20 minutes. Oh my God, I'm at the airport. How did you know that? I'm magical. I'm just kidding. No, the airport told me. The airline told me. But you're in the know. Okay. So it's your email, their phone number. Your email, their phone number. Period. Okay. Then let them know about caution when packing. Please let them know about caution when packing. Please, 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 please let them know. Okay. Especially with e-cigs, vapes, all those wonderful things. Let them know. All right. Then you're going to go ahead and put in the billing information and that's it. Okay. Let's see. Donna, what do we got here? Basic economy with the slash through the suitcase. Yes, that means they have to pay extra. Okay. You have a question. If someone is like 6'4" and needs extra leg room, what do you suggest? Business is twice the cost. Is there an in-between between coach and business, or do you look at the seating arrangements and choose extra legroom seating? You have a client flying to Bali in a 23-hour flight. Yes. So I'm going to actually address the second thing she said really quick. Have them take a photo of it and text it to you so you can see it for yourself. Yes. With a credit card, that's always a good thing to do. Okay. Because you want to make sure that like the card is actually in their name. All right. Okay. So with, first of all, 23-hour flight. So you want them as flipping comfortable as possible. Okay. Whether they're extremely tall or not, you want them comfortable. Okay. One thing I honestly truly suggest is, let's go back over here. Okay, first of all, with that main plus, it is going to add an extra $100, but if they're that tall and you can't get them an aisle seat, which even if you get them an aisle seat, or even like an exit row seating would actually be kind of good too, because they have like the extra room there. But on 23 hours, you're going to have people moving around the cabin. And they might be asleep and their leg, like a leg might be out in the aisle, which can be a hazard, not just to the passengers, but also to the attendants. So, I mean, I totally get, the extra cost, but on a 23-hour flight, and being that tall, first class might actually be a little bit better, and really, really hammer into, them the importance, of that extra leg room, for, just for their general health also, because, and it's going to sound really weird, being that I was in healthcare, somebody that tall can actually be more prone to blood clots in their calves than somebody who's shorter. So, it might behoove them to have a first class seat with that extra leg room and, the ability to kind of stretch out a little bit more and most likely recline a lot better, but otherwise I would definitely put them into like that main plus, instead of the main cabin. There's, like economy plus, that does have that extra leg room also. So I would really, really look into, to that like middle tier seating, like you were just asking about. So, but basically, guys, that is how you book, book the flights. Again, make sure that you You're not using your own card, you're using your client's card. You're making sure that you charge a booking fee. Now, one thing for that main plus and that first class, I highly suggest that you go into either Expedia Tap or into VAX, Vacation Access Air Only, because for that main plus and anything that's not this, okay, anything that's not budget price, we get a commission on. It might be a small commission, but it is a commission, okay? And you may not have to charge that fee, all right? But if it's just that budget main cabin price, we're not going to get a commission on that. And you're definitely going to want to charge a fee on top. But that main plus and that first class, business class, we do make a commission off of those. So I highly suggest if they say, I want business class or I want first class, go into Expedia Tap or go into VAX Air Only. Hold on. Let's see. Yes, and VAX also, good one, Donna. VAX you can also add your own commission, okay, if you don't like the commission on there, or if you do decide to go in through VAX and just do air only for economy, you can add commission onto the flight as well. So, all right, are there any questions on flights before I turn it back over to Marcy? And you're more than welcome, guys, to unmute and ask your question versus type it out.
Amy, what about people traveling? I just had a client call me, and I've worked with her before on airfare for a minor traveling. Do you want to go over what the protocols are if you have a minor traveling by themselves?
And see, and that one right there with the minor traveling, different airlines kind of have like different wants and needs. So honestly, one of the best things you can always do, again, guys, Google is my best friend, okay, is let's say you're using American Airlines. So you can actually type in American Airlines, minor travel. Hold on a second. Travel without, let's see, there it is, without parents, okay? You can actually just Google search it and boom, it's gonna take you right there, all right? It's so much easier sometimes. 0.8 seconds, guys, and you got over 60 million results, okay? But it's unaccompanied minors, all right? And the reason why I say go to that airline is because like American Airlines right here, they actually charge a $150 unaccompanied minor service fee, okay? And that's in addition to the ticket price. All right. Now, if they have siblings with them, they're not going to have to pay $150 per child. It's $150 for that family, but they have to actually be siblings. Okay. But for right here, it's ages 5 through 14. They cannot have, they can't have anybody under the age of 5 travel alone. I pray to God you don't have kids travel alone under the age of 5. But it's 5 through 14 with American Air. They can use the unaccompanied minor service, which of course is that $150 fee. For kids that are aged 15 through 17, they don't have to use that service. They can actually travel by themselves. As you know, teenagers, they don't have to have an unaccompanied minor package added, okay? It's completely optional. If you don't trust your teenager, then yes, you can pay the additional $150 fee and you know, have them watch your kid basically. So their service actually includes early boarding, kids only lounges, and they're in hub cities so that your kids are away from, you know, like some of the other like adults and stuff like that. They get an airport escort at the gates to bring them to different flight connections, and they escort the child to an authorized adult. Okay, now one thing that they, as you can see here, it's going to read you everything here. All right. They don't allow kids to travel alone when their trip includes flights on another airline. All right. Ground or co-terminal connections where the child has to transfer from one local airport to another. They don't do that. And they also don't do the last flight of the day from the final connection city or overnight connecting flights. They have to travel, during the day. And again, this is American Airlines. You have to go to each one to see what their different restrictions are, what their different fees are, everything else, okay? And here you can see, the different age ranges. When you book your child's trip, it has to be booked by phone, okay? Which it's always easier when you go through a travel agent, because we can just go ahead and contact the airline ourselves, let them know, hey, guess what? We're travel agents, right? Always talk to your child at the airport. They have required documents, okay? Birth certificate or passport to prove the child's age, all right? Adults, government issued photo ID with a current address, okay? Phone number, so they can contact you if there's an issue. Huge thing. I actually recommend 2, okay? And they actually talk about this, the name, address, and phone number of the person that's going to be meeting your child at the destination. So like, let's say you have 2 parents that are divorced, okay, and they're in different states or whatever. They would need your information plus your ex-spouse's information, because that's going to be the person that's going to be picking your child up. Once your kid's checked in, the ticket agent is going to give you a security pass from the airport ticket counter so that you can take your child to the gate, okay? You don't just bring them in and say, bye, sweetheart, and leave, okay? We're not doing that. And we need to let our clients know that part too, okay? Let them know that they can take their child to the gate. They will get the pass, at least, through American Airlines. Let them know that they do need to have a passport for their child. They need to show their photo ID with their current address, okay? And give a phone number and also the information of the person that's going to be picking up the kid. And then you guys can definitely go through, the rest of these, but I'm telling you, again, it changes from airline to airline to airline, okay? Some airlines will charge $25. Some airlines won't charge anything. Some will charge even more, okay? Because they offer more. It really depends on which flight, they choose to book with you. And then, before you book that flight, look up that information, go to that airline's website, and make sure that they understand everything that's involved, because it's not like they're just going to hand their child over and walk away, okay? They're going to have to pay a fee. They're going to have to walk their kid to the gate. They're going to have some type of documentation proving that that is their child, especially in this day and age, okay? So huge in this day and age, guys. Because we've heard about the trafficking and things like that. So they want to make sure that you are the person who, has custody of that child. So they want your information, they want the child's information, and they want the information of the person picking them up, because they will make sure that child gets from point A to point B safely. All right.
Yeah, Amy, can I cap on that really quick? And like I said, I have a client that I do this with, and when I flew out here to Oklahoma last Saturday, I was flying Southwest, and I was the plane that came in that we were taking out. I happened to witness that, and I was really, really impressed, just to say the least. Flight attendant and little girl, probably about 10 years old, 10-ish, got off, and I was really, really impressed with the way the flight attendants handled that, because she was like, okay, well, do you see your mom? And the little girl's looking around, and she says, no, I don't see her. And there's a lot of people in the terminal, because there was inbounders and
Right.
people getting ready to outbound, and so she says, okay, well, let's call her. And the flight attendant had a stack of paperwork. Okay, she had a stack of paperwork. And so they called the mom, and the mom happened to be sitting there in the terminal. It's just that they didn't they didn't physically see each other. So the mom's phone rang and she says, "Oh yeah, I'm right here." And then, they connected. But before that flight attendant would release that little girl, they had to compare notes, with the parent. So I was really impressed to see, how that transition, because I witnessed it firsthand, and I was really impressed to see how that transitioned. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. That's kind of it made me feel really good knowing that if I had to send a child, on their own like that for whatever reason, that yes, they do. They do indeed take care of the children when they're when they're flying, and they do board them in the front. They don't just put them anywhere on the plane. They board them in the front, in the very front row, one or two rows back, and that way the flight attendants right there have a visual, of that child, and they tend to them, in flight and everything too. So just take notes of that. So if you ever have clients that are flying that are maybe traveling from one city to the next, to go see grandma and grandpa, but then mom or dad are leaving to go home, and then that child has to fly home, they are taken care of by the airlines.
That's awesome that you got to see that. I got to see it.
It was cool.
I got to see it on the way to Hawaii, actually.
Yeah.
And it was
We
just,
act-
it's
we
good.
actually did that with my stepdaughter
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, and you had to show ID and everything to get her.
Mhm.
And she was actually on a plane coming from Key West to New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
and her connecting flight was delayed. They put her on a plane and flew her on that plane by herself, just her, no other passengers on that plane, because she was supposed to be in New Orleans at a certain time, and they made sure she was there. It was Delta that she flew.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome. All right, guys. Any other questions? And for those of you who don't know, Donna Fontaine, she is also an IATAN card holder and member of the elite circle for the Boss Tribe. So another amazing, source of information. You'll see her on trainings, just like you'll see Marcy on trainings, going over different stuff. So definitely tune your teams in when they're training, because they're pretty awesome ladies. I love working with them. And I love seeing them book travel. It's so great.
Yeah, booked Hawaii yesterday.
Yes.
Got a lot of them in the pipeline, just trying to wrap them all up. So that Bali one is kind of an unusual request, and because they already have a property for 7 days that they're staying at, but they wanted to add 3 days at the end, but yet they need airfare for the duration to and home. And these guys are like, yeah, well, we're like 6'2" and 6'4", and we need extra leg room. And I'm like, wow, the difference between coach and business is $2,000 more. So
Yeah.
you either got to get up and walk around a lot, and I know sometimes that when you pull up, and I've done this before, okay, you pull up the aircraft and kind of snoop around on the seating arrangements just to kind of see what seats have that
Right.
little extra leg room, or whatever. But yeah, so.
Yep. Yeah, definitely you can look at, like seating maps and stuff like that too. So, and you could show it to them and say, look, if you
Mhm.
add the extra $200-300, this is what you could have.
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
guarantee you much comfort in that middle seat for coach.
Right, exactly.
So, sometimes it is worth the extra. I mean, I honestly, like, if it's within, a certain part of my budget, or, I'll extend my budget out as much as I can if it means, that added comfort.
Mhm.
So, all right, guys.
Absolutely.
Well, we have been on here for We've been on here for an
Almost
hour.
an hour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good.
All right. So I'm going to hand it back over to you, Marcy, to close us out.
Okay, I want to thank Amy for the amazing training on flights today. And if there are no other questions, I guess we will close out this training.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you all very much. And everybody have an amazing weekend.
You do the same.
You too.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Good night, all.
Bye.